Yikes! That's a stalker. That's right. I'm going to share my current situation with experiencing an online stalker and past online stalker experiences, because I think that that's something that a lot of people can relate to as we get more involved with online and the lives that we live online, as social media platforms build up and less outside experiences happen. Although stalking is something that happens both online and offline. So we're going to talk about that. And also, I'm going to answer some of your Doll Fam Choice topics, because I love giving you guys the answers that you're asking for, as well as, don't forget, what's going on with these GD headlines. Is Blockbuster coming back, or are they just filthy, rotten, dirty teases? Because if they're not coming back, the new update to their website is just unfair. Dirty pool. So that's what we're going to be talking about on this week's episode. So get yourself a brew. Preferably a Sleepy Dog coffee beans, if that's what you want to sip on. That's what I'm sipping on. It's the bean juice of champions. And let's just get right into it. Let's just stop wasting time, because I talk too much to waste time. All right, so we're going to be talking about stalkers. And I think that it's something that probably more people can relate to than we would like to even acknowledge. And that's unfortunate. It really is. The reason I decided that this would be an interesting topic to talk about is that here on Monday Coffee with the Doll, a lot of the times the topics that I talk about are sparked by personal experience. And, well, that's just stupid to say. All of the topics that I talk about here on Monday Coffee with the Doll are sparked by personal experience. You know, everything that I talk about here is something that I can share on from a personal level. That's kind of what started Monday Coffee with the Doll, is just sitting down and talking about what I was going through in life. And by sharing relatable personal things that I'm going through, my followers I feel like it humanizes me, right? And I think that by humanizing myself, I can connect with you guys as humans better. And one of my favorite things about this show is that it sparks other human relatable interactions from my followers, and you guys can connect with me on more relatable topics and situations. And I think that that's kind of what the whole point of online creators is that people like to follow people that they relate to and can connect with. So my cat thinks that my computer right here is something that she needs to sit on. This is very expensive, Betamax. So let's just not do that. You're gonna knock over my camera? Okay. I have so many cats. This is such a pussy house. It's insane. All right. So we're going to be talking about stalkers. We're going to be talking about the scary situations that can arise really for anybody. You don't have to be an online creator like me or a model or anybody. Anybody can be stalked by anybody of a unhinged mind. I currently have been talking on TikTok about a situation that I'm going through with a gentleman who started messaging me on my Facebook page. And it started out with just with conspiracy theory photos being sent to me by like the 50 and 60s quantities at a time. Just and this person making claims that they were, you know, ex-special ops and in on crazy stuff. And, you know, the more you talk to people like this, the more you realize, oh, you're just, you know, you don't live in reality. You're clearly mentally not stable. And for me personally, I always try to really be careful even in those situations. I talk to a lot of people online, and I always try to be respectful and care and think about what I say that might trigger that person in a way that could hurt them. I don't always think about the situation harming me, because I do feel like I'm in a pretty secure situation, and a lot of these things that come up aren't really anything that can harm me physically, but you do have to be aware and you have to watch certain things because they can escalate. And this gentleman, as his behavior has escalated, I have called the police department where he lives. And before I could even really get out a lot about what I was going through, they knew exactly who I was talking about and said that they were already watching this gentleman based on his behavior online. And the thing that I think is the most disturbing is that you hear a lot, I don't know if I should say this out loud, you hear a lot in like on the news when a mass I don't think, am I allowed to say it out loud? Like if, when mass shootings and things happen, you will hear at times the news acknowledge that these people were already on the FBI's watch list. And when people are already on these lists, it's crazy that they can make the moves that they do. But then I think about people like this person who I have had to call and make reports about, because the police are telling me that they're already watching this person, that he's already on their radar. So now I'm calling them and telling them that this person is actively harassing me, going out of his way to harass me. I have blocked every account that I can, and he continues to come at me. He continues to send me pictures of his genitals. And he got some paperwork that says he's no longer to contact me. He immediately was back on one of my Facebook pages and getting involved in my content again. So it's like, at what length do people who do these things actually get reprimanded other than a slap on the wrist or a piece of paper given to them? And I think that for a lot of people who I've talked to in regards to stalking situations, it's really unfortunate, because everybody, including myself, when it comes to like harassment and stalking, there doesn't seem to be a lot to do until a lot of damage has been done, or even worse, somebody's died. And I think that that's really unfortunate and crazy to me. I'm literally calling and saying this person is actively harassing me. You know that they're an unstable, dangerous person. You're already watching them based off of their online behavior. And now they're sending out photos of their genitals, and literally nothing is going to be done, other than he got some paperwork that he immediately went against. Because if these people believed in doing the right thing, they wouldn't be doing what they're doing already. But also, a lot of these people aren't mentally capable. And that's one of the things that I always try to take a minute to really look at. So when I called and made these reports, I let the officers know that this isn't just like some guy that's like sending me a picture of his wiener, right? I deal with that. I don't deal with that as much as I used to, thankfully. But I have dealt with that in the past. And a lot of times, it's just guys that like, it's like a cat bringing you a rat to your door. Like, look at what I have for you, right? And it's just this pathetic, sad attempt, I guess, to woo you. And you just block them and you move on, and it's whatever. But this person is so mentally unstable. I don't think there would be helping them in any facet. Like, the way this person's mind is at this point is you can tell over years and years and years, if not his entire life, that he has not received who knows what it is that he's needed to get him to this point. So for this person, they would need to be put into psychiatric care. Like, and that's not a thing anymore in the US. Like, there is no psych hospitals where people are put, because somebody like this would need to be there. With the behavior and this, what I've seen on his profiles, this is a person that is not stable. He is not mentally well. He does not live in reality. He is delusional as all get out. And I do believe that people like this can be a danger to others, especially women, because they act on impulse, obsessions, manic behavior, and complete delusions that they fabricate within their own minds. So when this gentleman is behaving the way he does on his Facebook pages and online, and the things that he's writing, the videos that he posts on his TikTok, they're scary. So then when they send you a picture of you that they've taken off of your page, he took one of my most recent Valentine's photos, not a picture of me, that would be really scary, but a picture that he's stolen of mine off the internet, which is okay, and a picture of their penis over and over again. Like, what? How am I supposed to take that other than dangerously aggressive and suggestive? You know what I mean? So when you're telling the police this is happening, and they don't even get arrested for like indecent exposure or lewd activity or like visual assault. You know, so I realize that there's only so much that can be done based off the laws that are in place, but like, that's the thing that's scary, is that so much time has gone on. And if you look at the statistics about people who have reported about people stalking them and harassing them, they made the reports, they got the protective order paperwork, you know, they didn't contact, they did try to move away, they did all the things, but then ultimately this situation ends really heartbreaking and devastating, and with the loss of life at times. Those are really high things. Like, that's something that happens a lot. And I've spoke with a lot of people in the past in regards to a personal situation with a family member of mine. I try to be respectful. I don't like to like give specific details just because that's how I personally feel about it. But when somebody's going out of their way to actively lie to harm you, to harm your children because they want to be able to control your life and they don't get to anymore, and people who are mentally unstable will do things to try and control you, including filing false police reports, making false claims, trying to do things that get you in trouble. Like, I was put into a situation where false CPS reports were claimed about me harming my children, my husband harming my children, claiming I was a drug addict and alcoholic. I was in a battle for losing custody of my kids because of what this family member did, because they were mad that they didn't get to control my life anymore. And I had to go and take drug tests. I had to go get a hair follicle test where they took a ginormous chunk of hair out of the back of my head because the new kid was the one that got a hold of me. So you get put through so much horrific stuff when you haven't done anything. And then when this person proceeds to set up kidnapping my children, they proceed to send me text messages talking about if I contact other people in my family, they're gonna, or do anything to contact other people that, I know, they're going to drive here, rip my head off, and spit down my throat. And, you start getting these behaviors from people. And then when you take them up there and you're like, look at all this evidence of this person who's actively, aggressively trying to harm my life, you get told, unfortunately, there's just nothing you can do. And it's like, but how did they get a protective order against me by simply saying I threatened them, with no proof of a threat, with no text message, screenshot, anything? They just said, this person threatened me, I fear for my life. But when I come to you with all this valid evidence and say, this person is threatening me, do you see here, I fear for my life, my children's life, and they tell you there's nothing you can do, in a lot of these situations, stuff like that happens, and you just feel so alone and you feel so isolated, and then more bad stuff happens. So I did call on this person. I have made several reports. The next thing I can do is get a protective order. But again, it's paperwork where you go, does this paperwork like make me invisible? Is it like a shield? Is it like, what is this? Is it like, am I going to be like the Witcher and like be able to put up this shield against, so, having a stalker and having people who are actively seeking you out and acting in really grotesque ways and making you feel volatile, it can be really scary. And I've had a couple of situations like this. I think the only other one I've had was the gentleman who used to send me very long emails talking about how him and I knew each other in past lives, how he was talking to the alien egg queen mother. But what really got, I knew that this person was unstable and I never interacted with them, but when it really got scary was when they were starting to say that both of my children were spies and that they needed to be gotten rid of. That's alarming. And when he started saying things like Michael Myers, yes, the one and only, was telling him that I told him he needed to start killing people in my name, you worry about that stuff because there are endless stories about people who behave this way and then follow through with pretty detrimental things. So you can't just write it off as, oh, that's crazy. You have to kind of acknowledge it and put some seriousness behind it. And so because of the fact that I don't necessarily feel I'm in danger of this person, but I do feel like this person can be dangerous to people closer to him that might set him off. So I am reporting him to the police. I am letting them know that, hey, he's not just posting crazy conspiracy theorists online threatening the government that you guys are watching. You need to know that he's also actively harassing women, behaving like this online, telling them these things, sending them these photos. Like, this guy could potentially be dangerous. So I think that, I'll close with this. I think that when it comes to stalker situations and harassment situations, there just isn't really enough put into place to protect the victims in it. I think that overall, from my personal experience Personally, not everybody's going to have the same experience, but personally for me, I just feel like there's never been anything that really supports me through any of the situations I've gone through in regards to people harassing me or stalking me. Ultimately, it's all very much, do you want us to make a report and put it in the file? Or, I'm sorry, it's not enough. I'm sorry, it's not enough. I'm sorry, it's not enough. And I did get to a point once where I was like, so when I'm dead in my front yard, when I'm gone, then you will take it serious. And I don't think people who are victims of harassment and stalking should have to deal with that. So that's all I want to say about that. Let's move on to our next segment, and that is answering some of your guys' questions from my Doll Fam choice topic